the 8, across the 25, 35, 45, Scottie Graham. Mike Woolridge made the tackle. Great return by Scottie Graham, Paul.
Scottie Graham will take this kickoff on the bounce and get right up into the middle of the wedge. Good block by Olive at the point of attack, and this is just simply hard, good running. Scottie Graham getting the Buckeyes off to a fantastic start out and above the 35-yard line.
Great field position for the Buckeyes to launch the '89 season. Line of scrimmage, the 46, I formation. This is Snow weaving for about 3 yards. Sim Drain, who plays one of the 3 linebacking posts, made the tackle.
All right, the Buckeyes offensive line, Tim Moxley at 1 tackle. Carl Coles will be at a guard position today. Dan Beatty will be at center. Jeff Davidson at the other guard position. And Joe Stasiak will be manning the left tackle spot. Jeff Ellis at tight end.
Greg Frey, who threw for over 2,000 yards a year ago, at the helm. This is Graham hitting for about 4 yards to the 48 of Oklahoma State, setting up a 3rd and at least 4, maybe 5.
The rest of the Buckeye lineup, Jeff Graham at 1 wide receiver position, Bobby Olive at the other. And Greg Frey will be calling the signals today. Carlos Snow at tailback. Scottie Graham, who made that fine kickoff return, will be at the fullback position.
One of many critical 3rd down plays we'll see this season. Possession down. Buckeyes need at least 4. Must get inside the 44 of Oklahoma State. Frey is in a pinch, and down he goes behind the line at midfield. David Brooks sandwiched Frey, setting up a punt. Oklahoma State defensively, Brooks, Colbert, Mackey, and Satterwhite along the line of scrimmage. Jones, Oliver, and Drain, your 3 linebackers. Clark, Fleshman, Smith, and Jewell in the secondary as Bowman prepares to punt for the Buckeyes. Strong kick. Backing up the deep man inside his 10, and he is corralled at the 8-yard line. Penalty marker down. Mike Clark on the return. Tom Lease from Kenton, Ohio, zipped downfield to make the hit. Let's sort out the call, Paul.
Well, it looks like, Jack, it may be a face mask penalty against the Buckeyes.
That's why the tackle was so clean, huh?
Well, Tom Lease did a fine job of getting down there. However, his right hand, you see right there, good camera work by the WOSU crew, shows that he did get the face mask of the returner, Mike Clark. So the Buckeyes will be penalized. Oklahoma State will get the ball in pretty good field position starting out.
And that replay showed you why Clark went down in such a hurry. Major walk-off against the Buckeyes, but on the first play for the Cowboys, the Buckeyes' Pat Thomas stops it cold. Pat Thomas, 6'1", 260-pound senior from Centerville.
The Oklahoma State offensive line, Scott Chaplin and Scott Webb substituting for Brent Davis, Pete Surratt at center, Mike Martin, Keith Roller at the other tackle. And the receivers, Parker, Weiss, and Green. The backs, Gundy at quarterback, Hudson and Wilson at fullback.
Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State's much heralded quarterback, calling signals. This is Hudson scampering to the outside, first down yardage. Gerald Hudson romps to near midfield. Zach Dumas tackles him.
From the I formation, it's a straight handoff to Hudson, and watch this quickness and sliding ability. They think he's a lot like Barry Sanders, but that's saying a whole lot. But he shows good speed into the outside on this play. Zach Dumas gets him out of bounds, but a big gain for Oklahoma State, and they're up near the midfield mark.
Mike Gundy, 6', 189-pound senior. An off day last week against Tulsa, throwing 21 times, completing just 10. Whistles and flags halt the play. 5 yards coming up. against the Cowboys.
And ball foul, illegal procedure against the offense.
Pat Jones in his 6th year at the helm of Oklahoma State. John Cooper, year number 2, guiding the Ohio State Buckeyes. Of course, at Arizona State 3 years ago, the National Coach of the Year was John Cooper. 1st and 15 from the 43. The fullback lumbering across the 45 to the 46. Very short yardage for Wilson. Judah Herman rode his back to the turf. Pat Jones Cowboys last year, Paul, were the #1 scoring team in the nation. But 2 of the 3 big offensive people on that team a year ago are gone.
Well, when you lose players like Hart Lee Dykes, a consensus All-American at wide receiver, Barry Sanders, who was the Heisman Trophy, it's going to hurt your offense.
Gundy on a pitch to the near side. Hudson now retreats, and he's down way back at the 39. Showalter led the pursuit. A host of scarlet-shirted Buckeyes followed. Eric Foster from Patterson High School in Dayton was also there.
Gundy on a reverse pivot option, flips the ball out to his running back. Hudson tries to get back upfield, but Showalter does a fine job of playing the option, getting across the line of scrimmage, and also Derek Foster, the red-shirted freshman from a year ago, was in on the stop. Fine job by the Ohio State defensive unit on that play.
3rd and 16 for the Cowboys, who must reach the Ohio State 42 for a 1st down. Gundy to go up top. Good pressure. Intercepted. Brent Johnson on the pickoff. Freshman Brent Johnson from Bexley on the intercept after good pressure by Sreko Zizikovic.
Well, Jack, we talked about these freshmen are going to have to play because it is a young defense. Brent Johnson, number 30, getting congratulated by his teammates, did a fine job. Gundy going back under pressure right there from Zizikovic, getting out of the pocket, pressured also by Pat Thomas, fires the football. Brent Johnson calmly steps in front of the intended receiver, Brent Parker, for the interception for the Buckeyes.
Great field position again for the Buckeyes. Frey still has it. The pitch is caught at the 36. Olive gains 3 or 4. Jason Jewell, the tackle of Olive in the right flat. Greg Frey put up some great numbers a year ago for the Buckeyes.
Great numbers. Is wearing that protective shield over his eyes. He sort of looks like Darth Vader more than a quarterback, but let's see what kind of magical offense that Greg Frey can work on Oklahoma State.
Buckeyes need to cash in with this golden field position delivered to them with the defense. Pass swatted to the ground. David Brooks, Reuben Oliver, Tim Drain, all applying pressure on Frey.
Well, Jack, the pressure was coming up the middle, too. Oklahoma State blitzing out of the middle. Greg Frey was unable to get the ball downfield, but I think that Oklahoma State had very good coverage in the secondary. He really didn't have an open receiver to throw the football to.
Buckeyes must reach the 29 for a 1st down. It's 3rd and 6. Split backs are Graham and Snow. Nice catch by Graham to the 22. Ron Smith with the tackle of Scottie Graham, who's shown his stuff so far today.
Live by the blitz and die by. Good pickup there as Frey deals the ball out to Scott Graham in the flat. And Smith has to come from his safety position a long way to make that recovery and get to Scottie Graham. You're taking a ground level look at Graham coming out of the backfield right into your living room, but he makes the catch first and gets the 2nd down second, and the Buckeyes are in business.
Scottie Graham, perhaps the most versatile fullback in the Big Ten Conference this year. Great kickoff return, nice reception already. This is Snow! Touchdown, Buckeyes!
by Carl Coles. Dan Beatty, number 76, a gigantic hole opened up for that play, and Carlos Snow took it all the way into the end zone.
Pat O'Moro, who led the Buckeyes with 77 points a year ago and converted successfully all 23 PAT tries, is now on to add this point, but he won't get a shot at it as Frey looks for a receiver, sends it toward the end zone, but wide of the mark. Intended in the left flat. Jim Palmer was there, but Frey just couldn't quite get it to him. So the try for the point after goes awry, and the Buckeyes lead stands at 6-0. 9:51 left, opening period.
All right, watch this straight handoff. Carlos Snow, the right side of that offensive line opens a gaping hole, and Carlos Snow is through. Before you know it, great blocking by Carl Coles, Tim Moxley, and center Dan Beatty.
I'll tell you, Paul, Scottie Graham also sealed off someone on that running play by Carlos Snow. Wow, what a great start for Scottie Graham. The kickoff return, the pass reception, and some good blocking. Got to be the most versatile fullback in the conference.
Well, he certainly is showing his value to the Ohio State football team. He can do a lot of things, as you said, return of the kickoff. He blocks well for Carlos Snow. He can carry the football. And in that blitzing situation, he became a very important receiver. And I think that we're going to see a lot of Scott Graham coming out of the backfield for receptions from Greg Frey passes.
Back from Oklahoma State, number 17, Curtis Mayfield. Number 14, Robert Kirksey.
Pat O'Moro preparing to kick off for Ohio State to the Cowboys' two speed burners, Mayfield and Kirksey, who are inside the 5. Curtis Mayfield, Robert Kirksey to take the boot from O'Moro. We've played just over 5 minutes. Buckeyes lead at 6-0. And O'Moro drills it to the 3. Across the 40, Mayfield near the 50.
Number 17, Curtis Mayfield returned the kick.
Curtis Mayfield with a blistering kickoff return.
Taken out of bounds by David Brown.
David Brown caught him, and it's a good thing Brown was there. He might have been gone.
Well, Curtis Mayfield showing you that he has great speed also. 10-3, I believe, for 100 meters when he was in high school. Takes his kickoff at about the 3-yard line and gets it out right at the midfield stripe. And so the Oklahoma State football club is in good working position.
And again, a whistle and a flag before the Oklahoma State snap from center. The rebuilt Cowboys offense sputtering a little bit here at the start.
The problem that they have is a lot of new faces on that offensive unit. Maybe not exactly new faces, but people who are playing in their first year as starters. They did receive some playing time last year as backup performers, but, you know, it's nothing like being in there as a starter, and you have to grow into that position.
Sprint draw to Hudson, who steers to the outside, rolled down at the 47. Derek Iseman, returning after a year of absence from the Buckeye program, was aided by Zach Dumas. Buckeyes defensively, Zizakovic, Thomas, and Showalter along the line of scrimmage.
Let's go!
Tom Lease, a linebacker. We'll take a look at the rest of the Buckeye unit on defense in a moment. Hudson hopped over one Ohio State tackler and netted maybe 3 yards on the play. Iseman tripped him up. Iseman in on 2 straight tackles for the Buckeyes, leaving Oklahoma State short of a first down by 8 yards. 3rd down coming up. Pat Jones, hands on his hips already, a little perturbed with the sluggishness of the Oklahoma State offense. Buckeyes employ the nickel as Jim. This is Hudson, cannot shake free as Pat Thomas held on for dear life and dragged him down after a gain of only 1. In addition formation to Lease. Herman is also a linebacker for the Buckeyes, as is Iseman. And Derek Foster, freshman from Dayton. In the secondary, Vince Clark and David Brown, they man the corners. Zach Dumas and Brian Cook team up to work as the safeties for the Buckeyes. Blanchard's punt is snagged by Jeff Graham at the 14. He gets to the 16, maybe the 17. And from that point, the Buckeyes will begin this offensive thrust with 7:53 left in the quarter.
That was a 34-yard punt.
Robert Kirksey race downfield to make the tackle of Graham. Line of scrimmage to the 16. Not nearly the field position the Buckeyes had on their two previous possessions.
But it'll be interesting to see how the offensive unit reacts being backed up in its own territory. They need to move the football from this portion of the field.
Sprint draw, Carlos Snow, deeping hole. Snow swerved out to the 23. Second down and 3 or 4 coming up. Rod Smith made the tackle on Snow. Carlos Snow, Paul, had arthroscopic surgery on his knee in late July. As recently as a week ago, wasn't quite 100%, but boy, he's about there right now, I'd say.
He had some swelling in that knee last week, rested a couple of days, but he certainly is light on his feet and raring to go today.
I should say so. This is Scottie Graham bouncing off tacklers, getting a couple before shoved back inside the 25. He did manage to nudge the pigskin across the 25. Sim Drain put the clamps on him. Third down and a yard coming up. Darren Colbert was in on the stop for Oklahoma State.
In this short yardage situation, I would say that the advantage goes to the Ohio State offensive line. The average weight is 295 pounds. Oklahoma State's defensive line average weight is 264 pounds.
From the eye, 3rd and 1. This is Snow. He is stood up right at the 21, or I should say the 26. I don't think he made it.
Stop first by Albert Williams.
Buckeyes do have a very big offensive line, as you mentioned, Paul, but the fullback and the tailback are not huge by any standards.
Well, this big offensive line really has to take control of the ball game, knock people off the line of scrimmage, and give the small backs a chance to get across the line of scrimmage and do what they do best. That time, there was not a great surge or great push. The Ohio State players, however, are indicating first down.
Well, it is a first down for the Buckeyes as Carlos Snow's forward progress managed to inch out the first down right at the 26. That gives the Buckeyes a little operating room. 6:20 left in the first quarter. 6-0 Ohio State. Frey on the rollout, zipping it too high for Olive, nearly picked off in the secondary, but Jason Jewell. Timing on that pass play, Paul, not quite as crisp as you'd like to see it, although it is week 1.
Well, Greg Frey, I think, had a lot more time on this play than he thought he had. I think he rushed it a little bit. Once he got out of contain right here, right now, he should have just taken a little bit more time to throw because Olive had gotten himself wide open in the teeth of that zone coverage. But Frey throwing on the run and going to his left, which is the most difficult portion of the field to throw the football, going to the left when you're a right-handed thrower, couldn't quite make the reception. Second down and 10 for Ohio State.
Snow coughs up the pigskin. Who's got it? Cowboys have it at the 26. Or at least Oklahoma State thinks they have it. Their offensive unit's on the field. We've seen no official signal yet. It is Oklahoma State football.
All recovered by Sim Drain.
Sim Drain, one of only a few experienced seniors on this Oklahoma State defense, apparently recovered the football, although 3 officials discussed the situation.
Well,
it is indeed Oklahoma State possession at the 26 of Ohio State.
Carlos Snow appeared not to have control of that football while he was running and lost control of it, and it, of course, hit the ground with the fumble, and Oklahoma State comes up with that recovery and a very big break for them.
5:59 left, opening stanza. Cowboys possession. This is Vernon Brown pulling Buckeyes with him to the 18. 8-yard blast between left guard and tackle by Brown. Tom Lease from Kenton High School, a 6'5" freshman for the Buckeyes, in there on the tackle.
Vernon Brown is the number 2 tailback, a little bit bigger, 6 foot, 215 pounds. He looks like he's a very big, strong player. Oklahoma State player, down on the field right now, being attended to. It looks like their left tackle, Scott Chaplin, number 67.
Ice hockey tickets are currently on sale.
Buckeyes last year, Paul, in the turnover takeaway category were a -17 for the year. Already in the early going of this game, Buckeyes had turned in the intercept, but cough it right back up on a fumble, and the defense is in a bind.
Well, that's a category that Ohio State must improve on this year. That's the giveaway takeaway category. In previous years, Ohio State has been way up in the plus margin, meaning that they've taken the ball away from the opposition more than they've given it away. And they've got to get back to that kind of football again this year.
This is the centennial year for Ohio State football, and during the course of the season, we're going to jog your memory a little bit. How many head coaches have been at Ohio State? And a tackle for a loss by the Buckeyes. Pat Thomas, number 54. Thomas, the senior from Centerville, put a lick on Cecil Wilson.
Well, watch number 54, Pat Thomas, as he'll slide across the line of scrimmage and wrap up Cecil Wilson before he can really get back to the line of scrimmage. Fine play from the nose tackle position of Pat Thomas, 5th-year senior, who's getting his first shot really at the starting position.
3rd down and 6 for Oklahoma State, which must get to the 14. Throwing for a touchdown is Gundy as he hits Mayfield in the corner of the end zone. Zach Dumas on the coverage, but a perfect throw by Gundy. Fine catch by Mayfield.
Running what is called a simple fade pattern, which the receiver streaks down the sideline. Ball is thrown perfectly right over the outstretched hands of Zach Dumas, right into Mayfield's hands, and a 6-pointer for Oklahoma State.
Blanchard to send the Cowboys on top, and he does. 4:57 remaining first quarter. Oklahoma State 7, Ohio State 6.
There you see, number 17, Mayfield, a little move to the inside to freeze Zach Dumas. Then he heads to the outside, to the corner of the flag, looks the ball all the way in. Zach Dumas never really looked for the football. One mistake that the defensive back will make, and Zach Dumas makes it here. He never turns his head to look for the football. If he does it right there, he may knock it away.
Zach Dumas, Paul, certainly has some adjusting to do here at the outset of the season. He's a fine football player, but he did not play this position a year ago.
Well, the adjustment that he is making from corner to safety and then playing on that position, playing an effective corner, that's a lot of concentration during the course of a football game, and coming out and playing on a wide receiver, whereas when he's the strong safety, he plays and lines up over the tight end, who is not the quickest and most versatile receiver in your attack. So he's having to pull double duty here today, and that's a tough situation right there for him.
So Oklahoma State cashes in on the Ohio State fumble by Snow, drives for 7 points, and takes a 7-6 lead. Blanchard preparing to kick off. That extra point by Blanchard, by the way, was his 69th in a row. Olive and Snow inside the 5. Bobby Olive is under it, 2 yards deep in the end zone. He'll lose a couple Cowboys and gets to the 22. Mike Woolridge downfield to trip up the return man. Good kickoff by Blanchard. Buckeyes start from the 22-yard line, 1st and 10. Well, Carlos Snow has had a case of fumbleitis at times throughout his career at Ohio State. And you've got to believe it's probably more mental than anything else, Paul.
Carlos is a fine running back, and of course he'll be able to shake that off and come right back and add to this Ohio State football team.
Scottie Graham is stopped at the 20. The play went for -2. Buckeyes are faced with 2nd and 12. Again, it was Woolridge in on the stop for the Cowboys.
Not exactly the way you want to open up with your opening play after Oklahoma State has scored, and they've got to be emotionally high at this point. Ohio State starts out with a negative play, and they're backed up in their own territory.
Oklahoma State's defense gave up over 400 yards a game last year, but it's a better defense this season, or at least most of those people are back with that added experience. Frey's pass is batted back inside the 5-yard line.
Batting down a quarterback's passes at the line of scrimmage is always a sign that the offensive linemen are not getting those defensive linemen's hands down. You got to get those hands down to create a throwing lane for the passer. As you see, linebacker right there, Sim Drain on the play, gets his hand up. He was clear and batted down the pass.
Drain is rated as perhaps the best player on the Oklahoma State defensive unit. He turned in a fine play there, forcing Ohio State into a 3rd and 12. Split backs. Frey being pressured, steps up, dumps it to Carlos Snow, and he's got running room. Carlos Snow to midfield. The play did not look like much when it started, Paul, but we'll take it.
Well, it didn't look like much. It's a screen to Carlos Snow. Middle screen, as a matter of fact, very well executed. As you see, Frey has to step up because he gets a little bit of pressure. Dumps the ball to Carlos Snow. Gets out, makes an excellent move right here. Defensive back tries to trip Carlos, but he keeps going. Almost breaks it down the sideline, but barely steps out of bounds. A big play for Ohio State. Carlos Snow showing you that he can do it all. Run from behind the line of scrimmage, as well as take the short pass from out of the backfield and make big yardage with it too.
First down and 10 for the Buckeyes at the 50. This is Carlos bolting to the 42. Good block by Scottie Graham. Darren Colbert on the tackle. 2nd and a couple coming up, as Snow has gotten Ohio State's offense out of a hole here on the last 2 plays.
Well, Carlos Snow picking up where he left off late in the year in 1988 for Ohio State, and being very impressive with his running style and ability in the broken field thus far in this ball game.
This is Scottie Graham surging to the 38. He's got a first down. Reuben Oliver stacked him up. Well, the Buckeye offensive line, Paul, on the running plays has exploded off the line of scrimmage.
Buckeye offensive line is doing a fine job opening up those holes for Carlos Snow, and he's taking great advantage of their ability to knock people off the ball.
James Bryant has entered the Ohio State backfield. He lines up a couple 3 yards behind Scottie Graham. Bryant, the senior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He gets the call. Is yanked down at the line of scrimmage. Might not have reached it. Elmer Williams stopped him a foot or two behind the line of scrimmage.
James Bryant coming into this ball game today did not practice very much last week, was bothered by lower back pain. We may see some of Dante Lee, the freshman from Dayton, Ohio, but right now Bryant is in there and has the call replacing Carlos Snell.
2nd and 11 for Ohio State. The football is dropped. Recovered by the Cowboys at the 38. Buckeyes either got their signals crossed up in the backfield or simply mishandled it, one of the two.
It appeared that Greg Frey rode the ball into Scott Graham's hands and let him have it going into the line of scrimmage and was going to fake an option down the line. The fumble was recovered by Sean Mackey. All right, he puts the ball into Graham's tummy, and the ball is actually jarred loose from Graham's tummy by Oklahoma State defender. It looked like, I believe, number 96 on that, and that would be Elmer Williams. And recovered by Sean Mackey.
2 fumbles by the Buckeyes so far in this game. Oklahoma State sweeping right in for 3 yards. Hudson romping for 3, maybe 4. Zizakovic in there on the hit. I don't know if you'd put either one of Ohio State's fumbles in the forced turnover category so far. That one was close. Snow earlier just dropped his.
Well, they certainly didn't come from really hard hits, and what the Buckeyes are going to have to do offensively is protect the football. Do a little bit better job of concentrating on it and protecting it.
Down to 1:41 left in the quarter. Hudson looking for an avenue, stumbles to the 47. He's a couple short of a first down. Steve Tovar, the fine freshman prospect from Elyria West, was in there on the hit.
Give go as much help as you can.
An inside look at the Ohio State bench on the near sideline.
Buckeye offensive line has done well blocking the running game. They've got to do a little bit better job of protecting Greg Frey in the passing game.
2 tight ends have been employed. 3rd and a couple. Hudson dashing for the first down. Surges to the 45 of Ohio State. Before Brian Cook, the freshman from Youngstown, can collar him. So Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State quarterback, and his Cowboy offense, which got off to a slow start today, are now revving up the offensive attack.
Well, they're simply taking advantage of the Ohio State errors. They're getting the ball in good field position, and they're making the most of it.
Hudson again, sweeping left in, cutting it upfield. Managed to get inside the 40. Alonzo Spellman, the highly touted freshman from New Jersey, put a shoulder into Hudson, as did Zach Dumas.
Hudson appears to be a back who has the ability to run the daylight. What Oklahoma State offensive line is doing is simply staying up in the faces of the Ohio State defenders and allowing Hudson to pick and slide and find that opening wherever it may occur. He does a good job of finding the open spot and running the football and making plus yardage.
Time is running out here in the first quarter, and that is it. The end of the first period at Ohio Stadium. Our score, Oklahoma State 7, Ohio State 6. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment.
On the next infinite voyage, the dinosaurs, conjuring fantasy, inspiring awe, since their earliest discovery, casting a fascinating, alluring spell. Dinosaurs have long been perceived as gigantic lizards, sluggish, dim-witted, and doomed to failure. But today, new evidence is challenging long-held beliefs about these ancient beasts, just who they were and how they lived, their ability to communicate, their energy and speed, and whether they actually were reptiles at all.
You look at this head with the eye of an anatomist, and what you see written is bird. Not lizard, but bird. the narrow snout, the big eyes, and especially the plumbing.
See how this fascinating creature is getting a radical new image. Join the great dinosaur hunt on the next Infinite Voyage.
The Infinite Voyage, tomorrow night at 8. You're watching WVIZ TV 25, Cleveland.
This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield at Ohio Stadium in Columbus, where the Buckeyes trail Oklahoma State 7-6. We're seconds away from the start of the second stanza. This is the centennial year for Ohio State football, and we are going to jog your memory a little bit throughout the season. You may recall in the first period, we asked you how many head coaches has Ohio State had in these 100 years, and we'll pop the answer your direction shortly. Continue to give that one a little more thought. How many head coaches in these 100 years? Second quarter underway. Gundy flips it in the flat. This is Mayfield breaking a tackle, getting to the 33. And the Buckeyes got a piece of him. Vince Clark was out there. And he got him around the ankle. Tripped him up, but he got a first down.
This is called a deceptive play right here. Fake to the back and then screen out to the flanker for a wide receiver. In this case, Mayfield, the big play man for Oklahoma State. Clark makes a fine shoestring tackle, or he may have gotten more on that
play. This is Hudson, can't find a seam, as Alonzo Spellman knocks him off his feet at the line of scrimmage. Steve Tovar also plugged up what hole there was. Two young men we expect to hear a lot about in games to come, Tovar and Spellman.
Well, they're young players, but they're freshmen, the kind of freshmen that can come in and make a serious impact on the Ohio State defense. And as Coach Cooper said, they've got to play. And they're making themselves noticed out on the field right there today.
Previous play, gain 1, second and 9. Gundy on a pitch to Hudson, breaks the tackle, another one, slipping down the sideline to the 16. Zizakovic finally caught up with Hudson, who made some good jitter-bugging moves to daylight.
This is the kind of thing Oklahoma State would like to do with the option and flip the ball back to Hudson and allow him to do his thing. He does it very nicely, making a couple of Buckeyes miss tackles before Zizakovic knocks him out of bounds. Oklahoma State would like to control this football on the ground as much as possible, take time off the clock, and, of course, put points on the scoreboard.
Oklahoma State utilizing two tight ends. Running play goes to the 13. Vernon Brown got about 5 before Spellman hog-tied him and threw him down. Vinnie Clark assisted. Second down and 5 coming up.
Vernon Brown, a very different kind of runner than the number 1 tailback, Gerald Hudson, but nevertheless, he's a big, strong kid who has outstanding speed for his size, and so he can get around the corner, too.
3 receivers are flanked, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Second down, Oklahoma State must get inside the 8. And again, Vernon Brown gets the nod. But this time his run is not nearly as productive as it was on the previous play. Pat Thomas and Mike Showalter pinned him to the turf at about the line of scrimmage.
At that time, Vernon Brown took all of his 215 pounds into the line into 260 pounds of Pat Thomas.
How many head coaches have been at Ohio State in 100 years of Ohio State football?
21 of them.
I think our graphic displayed the numbers 21 head coaches in the last 100 years. Hard to believe, 21. And we'll throw another question your direction. before this game is over. As you think back over the last 100 years, we'll test your memory. Timeout on the field with 12:37 left in the second quarter. This drive, Oklahoma State, Paul, began following a Buckeye turnover, as I recall a year ago, in the opener against Syracuse right here. That game for Ohio State was nearly error-free, I believe.
No errors in that ball game for the Buckeyes at all, and conversely today, Ohio State has already had 2 fumbles, one of them costly, and that it resulted in a score for Oklahoma State. But now we're seeing Oklahoma State on another march after the second fumble and about to put points on the scoreboard. So the turnovers thus far have been a real factor in this game.
3rd down and 5. And the Buckeyes stop it at the 11. Pat Thomas led the charge by the scarlet-shirted Buckeyes. Showalter assisted. Derek Foster was also there.
All right, not one of your great calls of all time, but I guess Oklahoma State thought that they could really ram that ball down Ohio State's throat. But the Buckeyes were poised and ready for Cecil Wilson when he came cracking in and stopped it.
Terry Blanchard to try a field goal of about 28 yards, and he is on the money. Blanchard, an accomplished field goal kicker, who's kicked a couple over 50 yards in his career at Oklahoma State. Splits the uprights, and the Cowboys lead at 10-6.
Well, Blanchard is one of the finest kickers in the country. And you're right, Jack, he has hit a couple of field goals over 50 yards. And from about 40 to 49 yards, he is one of the finest kickers that Oklahoma State has ever had. But in addition to that, he practically nails everything under 40 yards, too.
We mentioned a moment ago, 21 head coaches at Ohio State in the last 100 years, beginning with Alexander Lilly way back in 1890. Names like Ryder, Hickey, Edwards, Ekstrom, Hale, Sweetland, Bernstein, Jones, Vaughn, Richards, Wills, Williman, Schmidt, Brown, Widows, Bixler, Fessler, Hayes, Bruce, and Cooper. And there he is. John Cooper, head coach number 21 at Ohio State.
Long list of outstanding coaches here for the Scarlet and Gray, and of course John Cooper at the helm right now, bringing Ohio State football back.
Of course, Woody Hayes had a tenure of 27 years, and he was your mentor when you were here at Ohio State, Paul.
That's right. I had the pleasure of playing for Woody Hayes for 3 years of varsity football here at Ohio State, and certainly was a great experience for me.
Buckeyes trail now 10-6 after leading at the outset 6-0, and again the Buckeyes dropped the pigskin. Olive got it back and did manage to squirm ahead on the return to the 17. Gaines and Copeland on the tackle.
Olive here mishandles the football, can't seem to find the handle. Fortunately, does maintain some poise, picks it up, then runs with it. Got to protect the football, don't want to lose it again, Bob. He was stopped by Fred Gaines from Oklahoma State and Scott Copeland.
Well, there's been no rain in the air since the start of this game, so the Buckeyes have not dropped the football because of a wet pigskin, that's for sure. Frey still has it. Good pursuit by the Cowboys defense, but the completion is made by Jeff Graham. Play netting about 5.
Greg Frey with the fake to Carlos Snow, and Snow immediately has to protect Frey, and then he deals the ball on the right sideline to Jeff Graham. Slot formation. Jeff Graham right here does a spin to the inside and slides to the outside. Cute little move there, but the results are fine for Ohio State. Good timing and 5-yard gain for the Buckeyes.
2nd and 5. Bulldozing ahead, Scottie Graham muscles about 2 yards, maybe 3 out of that play. Sean Mackey knocked him down. Buckeyes are faced with 3rd and at least a couple.
Ohio State really hasn't shown great protection while Frey has been back in the pocket up to this point. Oklahoma State has come with some blitzes early in the ball game. It'll be interesting to see what the cowpoke's strategy will be in this situation.
Cowboys showing blitz. Here they come. Frey still got it. Open receiver, first down. Scottie Graham. High steps it to the 38. Jay Fleshman made the tackle.
Again, the blitz is coming from Oklahoma State. Frey under pressure, but dumps the ball to Graham, who does a good job of looking it in, and then drags Fleshman for a first down yardage for the Buckeyes.
.11:04 left, second period. 10-6, Oklahoma State leading Ohio State. Buckeyes have a first down and 10 at their own 38. Buckeyes fake the sprint draw. The catch is made by Bernie Edwards at the 45 of the Cowboys. Greg Frey zeroing in with Edwards, the 6'5" sophomore from Florida.
Now that was a very crisp play. Good faking. Frey sets up sharply. He's got a lane to throw the football in. Good pattern run by Bernard Edwards. If he could, he might have gotten a few extra yards, but that was a very fine play executed by the Ohio State passing offense.
From the 45 of the Cowboys, first down, Ohio State. Sprint draw, Carlos Snow. He is met solidly right at the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing on that play as Stacy Satterwhite, a sophomore defensive tackle, makes the stand on Carlos.
At Oklahoma State, they really like Stacy Satterwhite. He's a 6'6" tackle, played all of last year as a true freshman, and they think he has a great career.
Head coaches Cooper and Jones matching wits here today. A 10-6 game, Oklahoma State leading. This is a counter play with Snow slicing to about the 35, very close to a first down. Rod Smith nailed him at that point. We may have a measurement.
From split backs formation, counter play with Carlos Snow breaking in that hole and coming up there real nicely, getting a big first down, stopped on the play. I believe it's a first down, stopped on the play by Rod Smith of Oklahoma State.
It is a first down. First time today, Paul, I think we've seen the counter. In fact, this is the Buckeyes opener. Cowboys haven't had a chance to see Ohio State this year. That might give the Buckeyes a slight edge, although the Cowboys have played one game.
Cowboys have a game under their belt. They got their opening game jitters out. Ohio State made a few errors here in the first two quarters with the fumbling specifically, but as you said, Oklahoma State is getting their first look at the Buckeyes right now in this ball game.
And that counter play produced a first and 10 from the 35. This is Graham turning, twisting for 2 yards, and that's it. Mike Clark submarined him after he gained a couple, 2nd and 8, as we reach the 9-minute mark.
Oklahoma State has used a number of cornerback blitzes and other blitzes today. Ohio State may not have anticipated Oklahoma State blitzing as much here in the first quarter and first half.
Cowboys played a team last week, Tulsa. Already played one game. Tulsa had a game under its belt before playing Oklahoma State a week ago and beat the Cowboys 20-10. Cowboys pumped up here in the second quarter, leading Ohio State 10-6. Frey dodges one man, is rolled down at the 29, 3rd and 5 coming. Pretty good coverage in the secondary by Oklahoma State. Frey just could not find an open man.
Well, they really Jack, is when you put pressure on the passer, and Greg Frey, right after faking the ball to the first back going up into the line of scrimmage, simply did not have very much time as he tried to get out of contain to look downfield.
Pretty good start for the Buckeyes today on 3rd down.
Well, they're 4 out of 5, and let's see if they can make it 5 out of 6.
Shoots it to Graham in the flat. He cannot hang on. He would have been at least 1.5 yards short of a first down had he hauled it in. So the Buckeyes are short of a first down by 5 yards still and must try a field goal.
Greg Frey really not very happy with this throw as he's throwing over a little bit of pressure. The ball is down low. Scott Graham just cannot come up with that catch. He would have been taking the ball almost off of the carpet. Greg Frey really unhappy with that throw. Felt that he should have made it, and that is a makeable throw.
O'Mara was 18 for 23 in the field goal department last year. And this is a long one. It must travel 47 yards. A slight breeze at his back. And he sails it between the uprights. It's good. So Pat O'Mara's three-pointer gives the Buckeyes a lift and cuts the Oklahoma State advantage to 1 point, 10-9, 7:32 left, second quarter.
Very fine kick by Pat O'Mara. The placement was good. Kick had good power on it. Great distance. And I want to mention also that under the new rule, of course, all the kickers are kicking from the surface this year, and that makes a big difference. But Pat O'Mara, one of the better kickers in the country, along with Blanchard on the other sideline, simply wasn't bothered by the fact that he no longer is kicking from a kicking tee.
Kicking with no tee on artificial surface compared to natural grass. What's the difference?
Well, I think it's a little bit tougher to make the adjustment when you're kicking on the natural grass because the artificial surface is basically a smooth surface. So the real test comes in perhaps next week when the Buckeyes are out in Southern California. It'll be a big difference in kicking off the surface, but knowing Pat O'Mara as I do and the fine kicker that he is, he certainly won't be bothered by that.
O'Mara to kick it off for the Buckeyes, who have pulled within 1 at 10-9. Coach John Cooper mentioned before the start of the season that at times last year, Paul, he was not happy with the special teams play. He's not talking about the kicking of the punts, the kicking of the field goals. He's talking about coverage, and already today the Cowboys have burned the Buckeyes.
Well, there are going to be more chances, and one right here for Ohio State's coverage team. However, Oklahoma elects to keep it in the end zone. Mayfield wisely downs that kickoff, and Oklahoma State will put its offense in play at the 20-yard line.
4 minutes, 23 seconds. Field goal.
Pat O'Mara, the fine soccer-style kicker for the Buckeyes from Radford, Virginia. His field goal has trimmed Oklahoma State's lead to 10-9. And the Cowboys start from their 20 with 7:32 left until halftime. Mike Gundy calling signals and pitching to Hudson, trying to swerve around this end. He picked his way for maybe 5. David Brown slowed him up. Zach Dumas assisted. Eric Foster was also there. We mentioned earlier that Dumas is playing a new position this year. David Brown is as well, Paul.
Well, David Brown has moved out to the corner, and that's a tough adjustment to make once you played inside at the safety position, because out on the corner things happen instantaneously and right now, and you've got to make the right decision or else you're burned for a 6-pointer.
Rich Trimble, the sophomore from North Olmsted, Ohio, is along the line of scrimmage defensively for the Buckeyes. Hudson puts his head down, shoulders his way to the 27. He's still at least 3 yards shy of first down yardage. Pat Thomas, who's been quite noticeable today, was in there on that tackle. He's had a very good opening game so far.
Coach John Cooper is one of the defensive unit, particularly the down linemen, to be much more aggressive off the line of scrimmage, and Pat Thomas certainly is demonstrating a lot of aggressiveness from his nose tackle position.
3rd down and 3 for Oklahoma State. One receiver flanked to the top of your picture. It's a sprint draw. First down yardage for Hudson to the open field. David Brown boxed him to the sidelines at the 38. Dumas was there also, but it's a first down, Cowboys.
Well, Oklahoma State showed passing formation with 3 wide receivers, but they go to the bread and butter guy, Gerald Hudson, on a draw play. He just picks his way. That's a missed tackle right there at the scrimmage by Judah Herman. Then Hudson gets outside with his great quickness and speed and makes a first down for Oklahoma State. David Brown knocked him out of bounds.
6 minutes, 3 seconds left until the half. Oklahoma State leads Ohio State 10-9. Gundy still has it. Roams for about 5 to the 42. Brian Cook came up to greet him. Gundy pretty nimble on his feet. He is not a pocket passer. He likes to get out and move around with that football, doesn't he, Paul?
Well, Gundy is employing the kind of offense that he was successful with last year. Oklahoma State was basically a run-oriented offense, and they threw the ball off of the run. He's being able to do the things he's done last year.
Gundy still throws up the right side. 13-yard pickup and a first down.
You can make these passing plays when you get the run going, and there's the fake to the first back coming up in the line of scrimmage, and then Gundy rolling off, throwing on the run, what he does best to Mayfield. Mayfield bumped out of bounds by Vince Clark. Oklahoma State has it pretty much going the way they want it to go right now.
5:25 left until the half. Vernon Brown pounding to the 40. Pat Thomas pounds on Brown. Knocks him down with help from Steve Tovar. Gain of about 5. 2nd and 5 coming.
Throwing the football is not Gundy's strongest suit, but when you allow him to employ the running game and get it going, then his rollout and throws on the run are that much more effective. And Oklahoma State, as I said, is getting the running game going just about the way they want it to go, and so Gundy is throwing effectively right now.
Again, Brown, the ball carrier. And he wedged out a couple, maybe 3. Eric Eiseman stopped him. Now, Barry Sanders was surely a tremendous running back last year, Paul, for Oklahoma State. But the Cowboys had a couple or 3 good ones waiting in the wings, didn't they?
Well, last year, Gerald Hudson got a lot of playing time. When your offensive unit is scoring 47 points per ball game, that means the backups are going to play. So Hudson was ready to step in and play this year, and he's certainly proven that he's a good running back today.
Cowboys need a little over 2 yards for a first down, and Gundy complains to the referee that his teammates can't hear him.
Well, I think I might disagree with Mr. Gundy on that. I don't believe that the crowd noise was in excess, that he should have not. Well, he shouldn't have really had any problems making his teammates hear his calls as they were directed to them.
It bothers me that quarterbacks are able to occasionally manipulate the officials concerning this rule, and it takes the home field advantage away, doesn't it, Paul?
Well, it does.
I don't think he made it. All depends on where the football is spotted. He may have advanced it across the 35. If he did, he picked it up. I thought maybe he touched down just shy of the 35. Jay Cook, who played his high school football at Cincinnati Purcell Marriott and is a junior at Ohio State, made the tackle, but not soon enough. First down, Cowboys. We're down to 3:45, second quarter, clock running, 10-9, Oklahoma State leading. Each team with a touchdown, each team with a field goal. Buckeyes didn't handle the snap on the extra point. This time the Buckeyes corral the running back after a gain of 2 or 3 as Ken Coleman and Derek Foster were Johnny on the spot to wrestle Hudson to the turf.
It's a good thing that Coleman made that ankle-saving tackle right there, because Hudson was just about to reverse field, go back to the left where there was some daylight, and he may have made some very valuable yardage.
2nd down and 8 for the Cowboys. Line of scrimmage inside the 33, just outside the 32 of Ohio State. This is Hudson trying to turn the corner. He's pulled down, but Steve Tovar. A mighty important play by Steve Tovar. Freshman from Elyria, as he dragged Hudson down for a loss.
Well, this is a fine play after the option, and Gundy deals the ball to Hudson. Steve Tovar, number 58, shows you that he has some speed from his linebacking position, because let me tell you, Mr. Hudson is awfully quick and he can get outside.
3rd down and nearly 9 for the Cowboys. Gundy with a quick toss. It is completed to the 22. Well executed play as Gundy raised up and threw a strike. Dumas on the tackle of Brent Parker, the Cowboys possession receiver, who turns in a 1st down here.
Brent Parker, number 29, runs a slant in and takes this dart from Gundy, and is smacked real good by Vince Clark of Ohio State, but it's a big 1st down for Oklahoma State.
On that replay, you got a glimpse of Brent Johnson, the Buckeyes linebacker, who tried to fill the passing lane but could not get a hand on the ball. Buckeyes throttle this running play. Vernon Brown goes down after gaining just 2. Thomas and Eisenman teamed up for Ohio State. We're down to minute 45.
Buckeye defenders are doing a good job of jamming up the middle, but somebody had better stay home on the outside, because these backs don't necessarily run that hole. They'll slide out to the outside. On that last play, Vernon Brown tried to slide outside at the last minute. John Cooper watching anxiously from the Buckeye side of the field.
2nd down and 8. 2 receivers split to the wide side. Tailback Hudson gets the call. He pounds to the 17. Mike Showalter was underneath him. Steve Tovar and Sreko Zizakovic aided on the play, and that sets up a 3rd and 5. 55 seconds left in the half. Receivers left and right, I formation. Buckeyes employ the nickel. Gundy's pressured, throws it away. Oh, almost intercepted in the secondary by Brian Cook. There was some heat on Gundy, which forced an errant throw.
Gundy faking the pass under pressure. Zach Dumas, 21 in his face, underthrows the pass intended for Mark Walker, the big tight end, number 41. Brian Cook just could not get his hands on it. Would have been a big, big play for the Ohio State defense.
Blanchard to try a 33-yard field goal. He's made 1 kick already today. This one is right down Main Street. It's good. 32 seconds left in the half. Oklahoma State leads 13-9. Well, the Buckeye defense at the end of that drive gave up ground grudgingly and kept the Cowboys out of the end zone, limiting Oklahoma State to just 3.
It was a good drive by Oklahoma State, mixing the run and the pass together and tying them in very well. Gundy doing the things that he does best, which is kind of getting out of the pocket on play action passes and throwing the football. Nothing deep, but possession kind of passes that are timed up with their runs, and it proved to be a very effective drive for Oklahoma State.
Cowboys did get off to a slow start today, but in the last quarter and a half, they have executed very well and are certainly playing with more emotion than they did a week ago at Tulsa.
Well, they may have been a little bit down in this ball game, but I think the 2 fumbles by Ohio State gave them some hope, and they turned those 2 fumbles into scoring opportunities, and they're very much in the ball game and right now ahead.
Blanchard hit that one on the turf. Down to Scottie Graham, who bolts out to the 41. Jason Jewell tackled Scottie Graham, who has turned in a couple splendid kickoff returns in this game, and the Buckeyes are out across the 40 with 27 ticks left in the half.
Coach John Cooper must be pleased with certainly the return teams today. They have returned a couple of good kicks. Scottie Graham in particular gotten the ball in great field position. Buckeyes may have an opportunity to put something on the board if they can manage the clock wisely.
Play action. Frey looking. Heaves it for Olive. It's caught. Bobby Olive. Bobby Olive on the receiving end of a throw by Greg Frey, which is a hair underthrown, Paul.
Greg Frey rolls to his right. He pumps, then throws deep to Bob Olive, who makes a fine move on Jason Jewell, breaks to the center of the field, runs as much as he can, gets a good block from Jeff Graham, goes out of bounds at about the 2-yard line, and the Buckeyes are in good shape.
Well, as we've mentioned, this is year number 100 for Ohio State football. We'll also look back at some of Ohio State's great plays in the past. And there was one in 1986, which was turned in by a current member of the Buckeyes, David Brown. It was at Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Boilermakers were facing 3rd down inside the 10-yard line, and Purdue's quarterback Downing threw to Brown of Ohio State. Actually, he caught it 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone. And David Brown scampered down the sidelines, made a fine cutback move, and he was on his way to the longest interception return in 100 years of Ohio State football.
Well, it certainly was a great play for David Brown, one of the great plays in Ohio State history. And watching him go over 100 yards was really thrilling. Buckeyes right here have a chance to go ahead in this ball game. They've got 2 timeouts so they can manage the clock, Jack.
13 seconds left in the half. Buckeyes down 13-9. Knocking on the door at the 2. This is Carlos Snow. Touchdown, Buckeyes!
Well, nothing fancy about this play. Carlos Snow will take this pitch and simply sprint to the flag. And on the way to the flag, he outruns number 1, Mike Clark, and gets in there for the 2-yard touchdown scamper.
Interesting decision here by Ohio State, which appears to be headed for a 2-point conversion. But not until after a timeout is taken, which may result in a discussion which winds up saying, hey, let's just kick it and get up with 3.
Scoring drive went 59 yards.
Well, the Buckeyes want to talk about it, and it certainly is worthy of discussion.
2-yard touchdown run.
Keep in mind, the Buckeyes missed a PAT earlier in the game.
Well, it was a bad snap. It wasn't O'Morrow's fault, really. Scott Graham leading the attack here, who will get a block, getting in the way. That is Clark trying to knock Carlos Snow out of bounds, but it doesn't. Carlos Snow, right from his tailback position, takes the pitch, will run and sprint for the flag, and will outrun Mike Clark of Oklahoma State and get into the end zone. 2-yard scamper, a big one for Ohio State. It puts the Buckeyes up at this point, 15-13. Now we'll see exactly what that discussion was all about, whether they go for the 2-pointer or for the 1-point.
Here comes O'Morrow, and the Buckeyes will go for 1. as that discussion did indeed end with the consensus feeling that 1 point was what we want here.
Well, you get your 3-point lead, and then certainly it would take a field goal. The other way, you'd simply go up 2 points and be, of course, 4-point lead.
7 seconds left in the half. Amoro's point after try is there, and Ohio State leads now by 3 at 16-13, scoring in the last 1/2 minute of this first half. And Oklahoma State, which was all pumped up, having outplayed the Buckeyes in the last 1 quarter plus, now has seen the air poked out of their balloon, and they will go in at halftime down by 3 points.
Well, the Buckeyes certainly came back in that drive. Pat Morrow makes this point after touchdown, and life as a kicker isn't all dandy either, as he gets run into by a big Oklahoma State defender, but Morrow shook it off. Buckeyes have shown they have the capacity to come back, and they've hung into this ball game, made a couple of mistakes that have hurt their chances and got Oklahoma State into the ball game, but certainly that last drive proved that they have the capability to come back, and there are certainly fine weapons on this offensive unit. As we said, Jack, it is the offense that is going to have to carry the young defense early here this season.
Well, the Frey to Olive connection set the Buckeyes up inside the 5, enabling Ohio State to tack on 7 points before intermission. See, it was last year in Game 3 when Bobby Olive made one of the best catches of the '88 season a year ago. 3rd game against LSU, wasn't it, Paul?
It was against LSU. A very fine catch down in the end zone, but let me tell you, that out and up maneuver that he ran in the catch and then the run after that certainly was a big one here today.
The ball is bounced down to the 22, where the Cowboys corral it, bring it back up across the 30. As the return is made by Brent Parker. Zach Dumas on the tackle as the half comes to a close. An exciting first half it was. Our halftime score at Ohio Stadium, the Buckeyes 16, the Cowboys 13. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment.
Soon, very soon, it'll be that time of year. Time for Scary Stories. Once again, WVIZ is preparing a special Halloween program, and we not only want you to watch, we want you to participate. Do you have a favorite scary story? Or do you have that strange capacity to tell spine-tingling, bone-chilling, scary stories? If so, we want to hear from you. Send a letter to Scary Stories 2 in care of WVIZ, 4300 Brook Park Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44134. Entries must be September 22nd. The best stories and storytellers will appear on WVIZ's special Halloween thriller, Scary Stories 2.
This is WVIZ TV 25 in Cleveland.
Welcome back to Ohio Stadium in Columbus. This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield. We're seconds away from the beginning of the 3rd period. Buckeyes lead by 3, 16-13. Ohio State with a slight lead in first downs. 2 costly turnovers committed by the Buckeyes, who trail by 5 minutes in time of possession, but did get a very quick scoring drive right at the close of the first half, Paul.
Well, the big play, 57-yarder that set up the touchdown run of Carlos Snow was the pass from Greg Frey to Bob Olive.
3 touchdowns, 3 field goals in the first half of play. Snow with 2 touchdown runs for the Buckeyes. This is Mayfield dashing across the 25 to the 27. And from that point, Oklahoma State will launch the second half, trailing by 3. Jay Cook raced downfield to make the hit. Greg Frey has gone up top a little more often than Gundy so far today.
23-yard return.
Well, Gundy is playing that conservative game, and they're mixing the run and the pass, and he's 4 out of 6. Greg Frey, 7 out of 11. Both quarterbacks throwing the ball well at this point.
Gerald Hudson churning out about 4 or 5 yards.
Gerald Hudson.
He reached the 33 before dragged down by Showalter. That run by Hudson lifts him to an excess of 95 on the day so far. As we mentioned, Carlos Snow with both Ohio State touchdowns. He had 6 running the ball last year for the Buckeyes. Second down, a long 3 needed for Oklahoma State. Gundy, a quickie in the left flat. It is dropped, but Parker, he had a first down and maybe a yard or 2 beyond that, but it slipped off his fingers. David Brown was in the area.
Parker, normally a short-handed receiver for Oklahoma State. That time he was running out of the slot formation and running a drag pattern out in the flat. They sent the wide receiver on a sliding in pattern over the middle, but Gundy was going for Parker all the way in the flat. Parker just did not make the catch.
3rd and 3 for the Cowboys. Oklahoma State must reach the 37 for a first down. Hudson trying to turn the corner off the block. He gets to the 38. Brian Cook knocked him down. Linebacker Tom Lease for Ohio State was stymied momentarily in the right flat and could not get a hand on Hudson. Had he done so, Hudson might not have gotten first down yardage.
So Hudson that time just simply ran for the wide side of the field and got as much yardage as he could get. Fine poise shown by Cecil Wilson, who almost broke the snap count, but Hudson now 101 yards on the day in rushing.
This is Mayfield. Buckeyes meet him at the 43. Jim Peel, 5'11", 190-pound junior from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Put the jolt on Mayfield, who picked up about 5 more. Maybe just 4. Call it second down and 6. 13.5 minutes left in the 3rd period. Buckeyes lead by a field goal, 16-13. Oklahoma State must reach just shy of the 50 to get a first down. The flip back from Hudson to Gundy, who throws it down the middle. Broken up. Fine play at the 25-yard line. Brian Cook was there. David Brown assisted, but Brian Cook got a fist on the football before it arrived.
Well, Oklahoma State has gone to the tailback up the middle numerous times. This time it's the flea flicker. Gundy looking for Jared Green going down the middle, who has a step on his defenders. The ball is actually underthrown. Otherwise, that might have been a very big play for the Cowboys of Oklahoma State.
A nice play turned in by freshman Brian Cook. Oklahoma State now is confronted with 3rd and 6. And Pat Thomas forged that play at the line of scrimmage. It might have lost a yard. 4th down coming.
Not much going here, and same play as the play before, only this time the handoff does go to Gerald Hudson, but he doesn't get very much as Ohio State turns up his defensive pressure. Buckeyes do a fine job controlling Oklahoma State's offense in that series.
Blanchard to punt.
Hey, get some water.
And it's a lofty one. Jeff Graham at the 11. And he staggered to the 18. 1st and 10, Ohio State. Mark Walker on the tackle for the Cowboys. 12:28 left in the 3rd quarter. Buckeyes 16, Cowboys 13. Pat Thomas of the Ohio State defensive unit made the big 3rd down play. It appeared to me, Paul, he sidestepped a block attempt by Webb, Scott Webb of Oklahoma State, and then made the big 3rd down tackle, forcing the punt, giving the Buckeyes possession inside the 20. Carlos Snow, not much room. Stacy Satterwhite slowed down the play before it got untracked. Second down, at least 9 coming up for the Buckeyes.
Ohio State simply has to get more on first down than slight yardage, such as 1 or 2 yards as that play got them backed up in their own territory. They got to move the ball out of his portion of the field of play.
Second down and 9. Frey looking, airing it out for Graham. It's picked off at the 42. The return is back down inside the 20, all the way to the 10, to the 6-yard line. Jason Jewell, who is playing cornerback in place of Joe King, who was injured before the start of the year and was expected to start at that position, makes a key intercept for the Cowboys.
What it looked like Scott Graham and Greg Frey were not timed up on that play. Frey looks like he's throwing a slant in pattern, but Graham is running deep. Jason Jewell simply read Frey's eyes and knifed in front of Graham and made a key interception, and then does an outstanding job of getting the ball all the way back inside of the 10-yard line.
So the Buckeyes turn over the pigskin again. Oklahoma State trying to cash in on the opportunity, and Hudson goes nowhere. Tom Lease, Pat Thomas, Jim Peel all get off the pile. 3 turnovers by the Buckeyes in this game. Greg Frey had plenty of time on that throw. Again, that was an unforced turnover. Gundy throwing, intercept, dropped by Vincent Clark at the 1. Vincent Clark got his hands on it. He may have been staring at the end zone at the other end of the field, because, boy, if Clark catches it, he's gone.
Well, Gundy rolling to his right throws a bullet and a strike right to Vince Clark. Not to anybody else, but to Vince Clark. Lost his concentration there for a moment. The pass was intended for Brent Parker, number 29. Would have been a big play for Ohio State.
Third down and goal for the Cowboys. They may have moved before the snap from center. I think Oklahoma State jumped. John Nealon, the referee, will tell us in just a few seconds. 5 yards against the Cowboys. Third and goal from the 12 now.
You don't like to see penalties occur anytime when your offensive team is on the field, but this is a 5-yard penalty that may actually aid Oklahoma State a little bit if they're intending to throw the football, because it moves them back a little bit further away from the goal line, which gives their receivers a little bit more room to operate down in that confined area.
Here's the fade pattern. It is caught out of bounds. No good. Mayfield snagged it, but he was beyond the sideline. Mayfield simply ran out of room. He needed about 2 more feet.
Same play that they scored on Mayfield, a little juke on David Brown. He's got him beat at this point. The pass is just a little bit too far out of bounds, and he can't get 1 foot in. But as you see, he had David Brown beat on that play for the score if they could have made the reception in bounds.
Blanchard, a 29-yard try. No, he missed it.
Well, we talked about Blanchard before. He's one of the fine kickers in all of college football. He just simply doesn't miss from under 40 yards, but he proved that he's human on that particular try as he missed it. Ball on the left hash mark. He didn't really hook the ball, but well, yes, he did hook that ball a little bit. As you see, it did not get inside of the crossbar. A big miss. Ohio State really dodges a bullet there. Buckeye defense played pretty well.
You're so right, Paul, when you mentioned that Blanchard is one of the best field goal kickers in the country. He missed just 1 a year ago, 1 field goal. And that one there cost Oklahoma State a tie as the Cowboys still trail by 3. 16-13, 10-51 left in the third quarter.
All due respect to that man, Pat Jones, and his team. They played well here today, but they've been in this ball game primarily because of Ohio State errors. And again, an Ohio State error almost allowed them at least 3 points on the scoreboard, but the Buckeye defense gelled. And Blanchard, normally a surefire kicker, missed the three-pointer. So Ohio State offensively has got to take charge in this ball game, something that they haven't really done up to this point.
And stop turning over the football, too. Fry's in trouble, delivers to Graham. And a 6-yard advancement to the 26. Devin Jones, an outside linebacker, pushed Graham to the sideline. 2nd down, 4 coming. Oklahoma State defensively went from the 3-4 a year ago to the 4-3 this season.
Well, Pat Jones was looking for a more aggressive defensive unit. While they had that great offensive unit, their defense wasn't that good last year. He wants better defense out of the Cowboys this year.
This is Jeff Graham. He's got a lot of daylight. He's out to the 42. As that play took the Cowboys by surprise.
End zone, look at this deceptive action. Quarterback Greg Frey under center calling the signals. Takes the fake to Carlos Snow and their hand back on the reverse to Jeff Graham running behind Carl Coles. Moxley throws his body out there. And I believe it's Bernard Edwards who gets a block for Graham and a big gainer for Ohio State.
16-yard gain from the 42, 1st and 10. This is Olive. He dodges one man, slips another tackle. He's got 11 to the 47 of Oklahoma State. 27 yards on 2 plays. Graham a run, Olive a catch.
Simple hitch pattern this time. Greg Frey out to Bobby Olive, but watch the running ability of Olive after he catches his pass. Takes a step to the right, allows Jason Jewell to overrun him, jukes him, gets back to the outside, gets as much yardage as he can, then is bumped out of bounds by Jay Fleshman.
10 minutes, 12 seconds left, third quarter. Buckeyes by 3, trying to stretch their lead. Carlos Snow may have stumbled on the heels of one of his own blockers. He did pedal forward for a couple. 2nd down, 8. Sim Drain slowed down Carlos. This Ohio State offensive line has excelled in the run blocking department today. At times, though, Frey has not quite gotten the protection he'd like when throwing, but Oklahoma State's been blitzing every now and then.
Well, they've had a lot of blitzes this early in the season. Could be somewhat confusing to the Ohio State offensive line, but they're mainly Letterman that's playing in the offensive line.
Counter play, Carlos Snow turns it upfield. He's got about 8 and a 1st down. Fleshman on the tackle as Snow ripped off more than 10 on that play to the 33. Carlos with a slight limp as he comes out.
Counter play has been good for Ohio State. As you see the blocking, Stasiak trying to get ahead. Olive getting a block for Snow. He turns to corner. Fleshman rips him out of bounds. Snow limped off of the field on the play. I've got a feeling he'll be back, but also going off the other side of the field is the fine outside linebacker for Oklahoma State, number 53, Sim Drain.
The Department of Athletics thanks Buckeye Club member
9 minutes, 25 seconds left, third quarter.
the Student Athlete Scholarship Fund. This is Rising. President George will be guest of the athletic department.
Carlos Snow says, I think I'll be all right.
Well, that's Dr. Bob Murphy, the white-haired gentleman right there who's been with the Ohio State football program for many, many years. He was there when I was there, and he's a great physician talking to Carlos Snow, and I think Carlos is okay.
This is Frey down the middle. Edwards! He is down on the touchdown! Or is it? Let's see.
Bernard Edwards, 6'5", Jason Jewell, 5'8", trying to cover him. It doesn't work. Touchdown for Ohio State.
O'Moro to add the point. Buckeyes lead by 9, 22-13. Ohio State 23, Oklahoma State 13. As the Buckeyes have struck big on pass plays since late in the second quarter. Frey to Olive near the end of the half, and now Frey to Edwards.
Well, it's obvious that Ohio State has made the needed adjustments at halftime with regard to their protection. That time, Oklahoma State was coming with an all-out blitz. Every one of the blitzers was picked up by the interior offensive line, creating a big alley in the middle of the field. Bernard Edwards running a post pattern, 6'5" tall against Jason Jewell, 5'8" tall, and that has got to be the ultimate mismatch. Ohio State simply taking advantage. Look at that protection in the interior line. Now here's Bernard Edwards screening off Jason Jewell, 5'8" tall of him, and taking him into the end zone for the score.
Edwards caught 11 balls a year ago for an average of 15 a catch. And that touchdown strike from Frey to Edwards boosts Ohio State's advantage to 10, 23-13. Another very quick scoring drive by the Buckeyes, just a minute 34.
Now we're going to see something interesting with Oklahoma State football. They wanted to run and pass. Now they're being thrust more into a passing situation, and I think that Gundy will make mistakes throwing the football.
Mayfield from the 3. He's across the 30, 50. Inside the 30 of Ohio State. Well, one adjustment the Buckeyes have got to make on kickoffs, Paul, or at least it would seem to me they have to make, is to kick the ball to Kirksey, not Mayfield.
Well, ideally, you would have wanted to stop Oklahoma State deep in their own territory, but Mayfield, great speed, great ability to break the kick, makes an instantaneous return back across midfield into Ohio State territory, and now Oklahoma State is not going to have to change their offensive strategy. David Brown finally bounces him out of bounds.
Hudson looking to sweep left end, and he is double teamed, triple teamed, and down he goes. Fine pursuit by the Buckeyes defensive core. Forward progress for Hudson right to the line of scrimmage. Brian Cook led the wave of scarlet-shirted Buckeyes. Player shaken up for Ohio State is David Brown, one of the 3 defensive captains and perhaps the most experienced player on the Ohio State defense, which cannot afford to lose. David Brown.
If David Brown must come out of the ball game, Ohio State is going to have to do some juggling in the secondary, and they're going to have to play one of the young, outstanding freshman players back there.
David Brown, number 27, walking gingerly to the Ohio State sideline, and he has been replaced by Foster Polk from Sarasota, Florida, highly touted freshman. He, along with Chico Nelson, was recruited by Ron Zook of Ohio State, one of the fine defensive coaches. Or at least I thought Polk came on. Yes, he's out there. Gundy's going to throw, looking for Mayfield. It is broken up. Actually, it was Gerard Green who'd angled across the middle.
Broken up by Vinnie Clark.
Vinnie Clark got a hand in there.
Gundy going back to pass, straight drop back action, throws the ball over the middle. Fine play by Vincent Clark. Should have had another interception on that play, and he's upset with himself.
3rd and 9. for the Cowboys. Gundy on the rollout, looking for Parker, can't find him, runs for the first down, is short. He needed one more yard. And he was slid to the turf at the 18. It will be 4th and 1. Brent Johnson came over to greet him. Well, Gundy is a very speedy quarterback.
Well, he's the kind of player who has the capacity to get outside of contain, and once he's outside of contain, that's where he's most dangerous, because he throws very well while running the football, and he has the ability to advance it on the run.
4th down and 1. Up over the top for a first down goes Vernon Brown. Vernon Brown, the backup tailback to Gerald Hudson, catapulted himself into the air.
From the tight formation, straight handoff to Vernon Brown. He goes up and over in good shape, leading up. Before him was number 26, Cecil Wilson, clearing the way. Oklahoma State first down inside of the Ohio State 25-yard line, close to the 21.
Buckeyes have Clark and Polk at the corners. Cook and Dumas are your safeties. Hudson off left tackle or guard for about 6, just outside the 11. Shreko Zizikovic on the tackle. Showalter assisted. Play gained about 5. Call it second down. And a short 5 needed for a first down. 7 minutes left in the third quarter. John Cooper's defense with its back to the wall. Gundy looking, intercepted this time by Clark. Vincent Clark up the sideline to the 27. Vincent Clark says, I may drop 1 thrown right into my lap, but I'm not going to drop 2.
Well, let's try 3, Jack, because that was the 3rd time. The 3rd time's the charm. But Gundy, this is a bad decision throwing the football. Vincent Clark has this play covered like a glove right into his hands. And as I said, he might miss it once, he might miss it twice. The 3rd time is the charm. Now it's an end zone look at Gundy's decision to throw, and he's throwing right for the red jersey right there that has Brent Parker covered perfectly. Vince Clark makes a big key interception.
6:42 left, third quarter. This is James Bryant, and he pounded for 3 yards. Mike Clark stood him up just across the 30. Second down and a short 7 coming. Sim Drain helped. Well, I'll tell you, Paul, this Ohio State defense, which returns really only 3 full-time starters from a year ago, has done the job through 2.5 quarters today.
Well, it's given up some ground, but it's made the plays when it's had to down deep in its own territory.
You're right. It's been tough in tight situations. Now the offense must do its job. This is Edwards. His knee was down when he snared it right at the 34. So that play, which appeared to have gained first down yardage, only gets several and leaves the Buckeyes short by 3.
Good first down play. Quick hitch, which Edwards comes off the line of scrimmage about 5 yards. However, you see his knees go down and touch, and so the official correctly rules him down because his knee or knees in that instance touched first.
That may be important. Buckeyes are confronted with third down. They need at least 2, closer to 3 for first down yardage. Here comes the blitz. A quickie by Frey, caught. This is Graham. He's to the 46-yard line, a first down. Buckeyes went to school in the first half on that blitz, Paul, as you mentioned earlier. They're picking it up nicely now.
It's a very smart move by Jeff Graham on this quick hitch out to Graham. He eludes the defender and gets upfield very quickly. The defender coming over was safety man Rod Smith because the cornerback on the play, Mike Clark, had blitzed from his position.
5 minutes left left in the third quarter. Buckeyes own a 10-point lead. First down at the 45. Contact is made by the Cowboys. Let's see who's penalized 5 yards here.
Good cadence call by Greg Frey as he draws the first 3 offensive linemen off the line of scrimmage. They went into the neutral zone, and so Oklahoma State was penalized 5 yards.
From just across midfield, 1st and 5 now for the Buckeyes. Frey after the fake to Bryant. He's a wide open receiver. Ellis. He's down to the 20. Jeff Ellis, who has been a decoy today, is on the receiving end of this big game.
Well, Jeff, Jack, we haven't heard very much from Jeff Ellis because he has a slight hamstring pull coming into the ball game, but doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with his leg on this play. Makes good yardage after he makes the catch, runs over a few people, gets inside the 20-yard line. Key reception for Jeff Ellis, first of the day, and a big one for Ohio State.
Ellis caught 40 passes a year ago for 12-plus yards per reception. This is James Bryant. Pounding down to the 10-yard line. Just a yard or two short of a first down. Mike Clark finally labeled a hit right on Bryant's helmet. Rod Smith was there. Productive run by Bryant.
End zone, look at this sort of delay draw play to James Bryant as he'll slide to the right side. Gets a good block from Moxley, 74. Also from Stasiak, 79. Dan Beatty, 76. All blocking very well at the point of attack. Big hole. Even Jack Kramer can run through it.
Second and a couple. Just outside the 10. Scottie Graham to the 5, the 4. Darren Colbert knocks Graham's wheels out from under him, but not before Scottie got the first down. Goal to go inside the 5.
Now we're seeing a push as we see Davidson 50. Also Cole 66, Beatty 76. The entire offensive line giving the big push, and then Scottie Graham lunging up into the center of the line. Almost scored if he could have held his balance.
Now the Buckeyes have used one of their 3 timeouts in this half to talk over strategy at the end of this drive, which has them in fine position inside the 5-yard line at the 4 with a first and goal. And Greg Frey in the second half has been red hot. Gundy, by contrast, has been on the cool side, Paul.
Well, Gundy is 1 out of 7 for just 4 yards here in the second half. Greg Frey, on the other hand, 6 for 7, 96 yards. In order for Gundy to be effective, as we said, opening up this second half, Oklahoma State had to maintain that good consistency with their ground attack. That hasn't happened as much as it happened in the first half, and being forced to throw the football, I kind of felt that Gundy would start to make mistakes, and he has done that. On the other hand, Ohio State has stepped up its consistency, particularly on this drive, as the offensive unit and particularly the offensive line is beginning to push this Oklahoma State defensive football team around now.
Well, this centennial year for Ohio State football is getting off to an exciting start. We're going to pick your brain throughout the season with some facts and figures about the last 100 years of Ohio State football. How many times have the Buckeyes appeared in the Rose Bowl? Give it some thought. Goal to go for Ohio State. This is Bryant. Looking, driving to the 2. Second and goal coming up. How many times have the Buckeyes been to the Rose Bowl? We'll hit you with the answer in several minutes. We're down to 2 minutes, 45 seconds left. Third quarter. Buckeyes just inside the 3-yard line of Oklahoma State. Second down. Greg Frey looking for a hole. The ninth forward to the 1. Jay Fleshman on the tackle. 3rd and goal coming up for the Buckeyes. 2 or 3 feet outside the end zone.
I don't know if that was a called play from the huddle or whether it was a missed handoff between Greg Frey and fullback Scott Graham. Well, it looks like it was a call play as an option play, and Graham elected to keep it himself. Not much running room as the Oklahoma State defense is stiffened. Sim Drain, outstanding linebacker back in the ballgame, now made the stop on Frey.
Jay Cook, who was in there on the last play, lines up again as the slot man on the right for Ohio State. We also will see a lot of action on defense this year. Scottie Graham over, touchdown!
Scottie Graham following good, blocking Carl Cole, 66, also leading the play up in there. That's James Bryant, 41. Graham breaks the plane, although he's driven back by Ruben Oliver. But Graham gets in for the score.
Here's Amoro's.
Also had a fine block on that play, Jack.
He sure did, Paul. Excellent block by Cook. Amoro's kick is good. And the Buckeyes lead mounts to 30-13. Ohio State once trailed in the waning seconds of the second period by a score of 13-9. And since then, the Bucs have run off 21 unanswered points.
On the replay, good blocking in the point of attack. James Bryant up there, 66, Carl Cole. Also, Jay Cook, 82. They all help Scottie Graham break the plane of the end zone and get in for the score.
Jay Cook, Paul, who lines up as the number 2 man in the 2 deep chart, and an outside linebacking post for the Buckeyes, is in there on the offensive unit today, and that may be a sign of things to come. We may see Jay in there quite often when the Buckeyes get down inside the 5 and are counting on the running game to work.
Well, I think you can depend on Jay for the running game or the passing game because he's proven down in that territory that he's a very accomplished receiver, having a couple of touchdown catches in past years, and so he's a very valuable player for Coach John Cooper.
Here's Amoro's kick, and this time he dribbles it down inside the 10. He goes back to the goal line. It's on the 1, and the Buckeyes tackle the man there. Cecil Wilson as the Buckeyes, who have kicked the ball deep to Mayfield several times today and have seen him downfield for big yardage, had a neat strategy this time, Paul.
Well, it's a case of who wants the football. I don't want it. Let's see, somebody's got to pick it up. They overrun it. Then they watch it roll to a stop on the 1-yard line.
Hudson turns out to about the 11 or 12. He may have a first down. That's a key run for the Cowboys, who get out from the shadow of their own goalposts. Foster Polk in there on the hit for the Bucs as he remains in the game on this series for David Brown, who was injured when the Buckeyes were on the field on defense last. Brown's injury did not appear to be serious, however. 1st and 10 from the 12. Hudson around left end, and the Buckeyes flush into the sidelines. Good, strong pursuit. Foster Polk led the way, as did Derek Foster as he hopped on his back.
Well, I think that the running back on that play, Gerald Hudson, certainly showed you that not only does he have excellent quickness and speed to the outside, but he's got some upper body strength and power as he certainly lowered the shoulder on that particular run.
Steve Tovar is in at linebacker for Ohio State. Hudson again bouncing off a couple people, not going very far as the Buckeyes string out that play. Derek Foster helped throttle that ground effort. Streko Zizakovic also led the charge. We're down to a minute in the third stanza. Buckeyes lead 30-13. And despite going over 120 yards today, Hudson finds his Cowboys on the short end of a 30-13 count. And before long, Oklahoma State may have to abandon the running game. They go for the first down here and get it, as Hudson carves out about 4 or 5, just short of the 25.
They're going to have to change their strategy once this quarter ends. That kind of running is not going to get them back into the ball game, as they have hopes of getting back into this ball game and making a run out of it going down towards the end. They're going to have to throw the football a lot more.
Down to 26 seconds left in the third period. Hudson, or I should say Brown, is handled by Tom Lease in the backfield. Lease diagnosed the play well. Lease, the freshman from Kenton, Ohio. Time has run out here in the third quarter at Ohio Stadium, with the Buckeyes on top of Oklahoma State 30-13. We'll return with the fourth quarter at Ohio Stadium in a moment.
On the next infinite voyage, the dinosaurs, conjuring fantasy, inspiring awe, since their earliest discovery, casting a fascinating and alluring spell. Dinosaurs have long been perceived as gigantic lizards, sluggish, dim-witted, and doomed to failure. But today, new evidence is challenging long-held beliefs about these ancient beasts, just who they were and how they lived, their ability to communicate, their energy and speed, and whether they actually were reptiles at all.
If you look at this head with the eye of an anatomist, and what you see written is bird, not lizard, but bird. The narrow snout, the big eyes, and especially the plumbing.
See how this fascinating creature is getting a radical new image. Join the great dinosaur hunt on the next Infinite Voyage.
The Infinite Voyage, tomorrow at 8. You're watching Ohio State football on TV 25 WVIZ Cleveland.
Welcome back to Ohio Stadium in Columbus. The Buckeyes lead Oklahoma State with 17, 30-13. We're seconds away from the start of the fourth and final period. Second down for the Cowboys. 14 yards needed for a first down. And you would think they would have to go up top. It's a forward pitch to Hudson. He's stopped at the line of scrimmage. Fine play by Derek Foster, who wasn't fooled. And Derek Foster has emerged here in the last quarter or so, Paul. He's made some outstanding plays on defense.
I think Coach John Cooper would have to be very pleased with the play of all of his first-year players on defense today. They've shown that they have the capacity to play. Certainly non-conference and conference football on a very, very high level.
3rd and 13. It's a draw play. Hudson. He spins to the 32, and that's where he snapped up short of a first down to 3. Jim Peel put a jolt on him at that point, forcing a punt on 4th and 3 by the Cowboys.
Well, the Ohio State defense did its job, forced Oklahoma State into the long situations. The Cowboys did not really want to throw the football, so they're going to have to punt it.
Richard will kick to Graham. Graham's got to catch it. He does at the 37. Gets to the 45. Good move by Jeff Graham.
It's the kind of punt, Jack, that you take on the line, that low line drive punt, and often it breaks for the returner. Jeff Graham took it on the run that gives Ohio State great field position.
Sim Drain made the tackle for the Cowboys, who are now down by 17 points with less than a quarter remaining. First and 10 Ohio State, just short of the Scarlet and Gray 45. Frey zips it, caught by Olive. He twists to the 47, just a yard and a half short of a first down. Well, this is the centennial year for Ohio State football, and we asked you earlier to think back over those 100 years. How many times have the Buckeyes appeared in the Rose Bowl? You got just a couple seconds left. Well, you don't even have that long. 12 times the Buckeyes have gone to California. Second down and 1 yard needed for a first down. James Bryant has got it. The Cowboys were lurching for the football, but Bryant tucked it away, held on. First and 10 Buckeyes at the 42. 12 times the Buckeyes have been to the Rose Bowl, and the first one was back in 1921. 1950, 55, 58, 69, 71, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again 80, and again 85. This is Scottie Graham, yanked down at the 42. No gain on the play. Elmer Williams put the collar on Graham on that one, who did well to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Blitz time real well from Mr. 53, Sim Drain, coming from his inside linebacking position. He really disrupts the play, causing Scottie Graham to have to drift to the outside. Scott Graham did not get very much yardage, hardly any yardage on that play after all.
This is Graham on the draw, breaks a tackle, lunges to the 39. Third down, 8 coming up. Again, Sim Drain upends the Ohio State ball carrier. And
Oklahoma State, Jack, at this point in the ball game is employing a lot of gambling defenses with a lot of forms of blitzes to stop Ohio State's running attack.
Buckeyes have committed 3 turnovers in this game, and that is what Oklahoma State needs now to get back into it. Down to 17, 30 to 13. Third down for Ohio State. Buckeyes need 7. Frey flares it over the middle for Bryant. First down and then some. James Bryant to the 28. Jason Jewell on the tackle. Frey may have had an eye on Ellis early in this play.
Not pretty execution, but a big third down play under pressure here. Frey looks for James Bryant, finds him over center. Bryant then eludes a couple of tacklers, then fights hard for the extra yardage. Makes a big first down for Ohio State. They maintain possession of the football and take some more time off the clock.
There's Carlos Snow. Might be favoring the one knee just a bit on the sideline. On first down, the Buckeyes plug away at the Oklahoma State defense. Pick up a couple more. Stacy Satterwhite on the tackle of Tyrone Harrison, who carried it. Harrison, a 6'2" junior from Highland Park, New Jersey. Pat Jones, the Oklahoma State coach, needs a turnover in the worst way. And Brutus Buckeye says, let's sit on the lead. the blitz. Frey lofting it for the corner. Olive is under it. Touchdown!
Very smart thinking by Greg Frey as he read the blitz, checked the play off at the line of scrimmage, looked for Bob Olive all the way. Jason Rule, number 4 of Oklahoma State, was victimized once again. This time, the long pass to Olive, he has to wait for it, but he goes high to take it away from Rule, the 5'8" cornerback. Rule a little frustrated there. It's been a tough day for him, as well as the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Here's Zamora kicking. It's good. And the lead swells to 37-13.
Play certainly worth looking at a couple of more times. Ohio State fans here got to be feeling pretty good about the Buckeyes' 37-13 lead at this point. Offense really coming alive in the second half. And here comes the blitz. As you see, a safety blitz coming up there from Oklahoma State, but Greg Frey calmly throws the ball on a deep pattern to Bob Olive. A little bit underthrown, but Olive goes high for the pass. Jason Jewell on the play defending, but Olive makes the catch. There's the hesitation, the start and go. A little bit of a push off by Jewell, but it doesn't bother Olive at all. He feels the ball is a little bit underthrown, goes high to take the ball at his highest point, gets it into the end zone. Now look at the protection on the inside. Although under a little bit of pressure, as I said, Frey calmly stays in there, finds his deep receiver, Bob Olive, into the end zone, and there it is, the touchdown for the Buckeyes.
A very snappy 7-play, 55-yard drive by the Buckeyes, which took just over 3 minutes.
Well, Jack, the big difference here in the second half, Oklahoma State in the first 2 quarters surprised Ohio State with its blitzes. But I think at halftime, certainly the offensive line and offensive coordination of the Ohio State attack got together, figured out how to pick up these blitzes, and they've taken maximum advantage here in the second half. Almost every time that Oklahoma State has attempted to come with a maximum blitz, Ohio State has made them pay the penalty.
And Jason Jewell has been left out there one-on-one. The Buckeyes have picked on him, and they have beaten the small cornerback.
Well, it's tough covering one-on-one all over the field, and Ohio State's receivers have done a fine job. They're a lot bigger than Jason Jewell, as you said, Jack. He's only 5'8" tall. Bernard Edwards victimized him. Bernard Edwards is 6'5". Of course, Bobby Olive is 6'1" tall.
This is Kirksey fielding it inside the 10, racing to the 33-yard line for Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys will start from that point, trailing now 37-13. Buckeyes have struck big and often here in the last 2 quarters of this game. And again, we remarked, Paul, about the fact that Gundy has cooled off in this second half. Frey remaining very hot.
Well, Gundy right now is 2 out of 8 for 5 yards and 1 interception. And Frey, on the other hand, 9 for 10, 143 yards, 2 TDs.
Vernon Brown was rolled down just across the line of scrimmage by Brian Cook and Jay Cook. You mentioned Frey's hot numbers, Paul. Bobby Olive has snared 5 today for over 100 yards.
Well, he's made a lot of big plays, and he's been very impressive with his ability to run the football after the catch.
Buckeyes with a brand new defensive front in there now. This is Vernon Brown trying to turn left end. He gains just a couple or 3, and I've got to be very puzzled right now, Paul, by the fact that the Cowboys are not throwing the football.
Well, they've got that young offensive line. The only thing that I can surmise, Jack, is that they want to continue to work on their run game because it's their bread and butter, and they may be conceding this football game at this point. I would think that they would want to throw, however, though, to try to get some more points on the scoreboard.
3rd down and 7. Cowboys must reach the 42 for a first down. behind the line of scrimmage, turned in. Rich Frimmel, the sophomore from North Olmsted, tackled the ball carrier, who fell forward to the 35. No gain, 4th down, punting situation for the Cowboys. Blanchard at his 21. Jeff Graham at his 30. Just barely getting the kick away is Blanchard, who may have been knocked down. He was hit, and a flag was thrown. Dante Lee, number 20, it appeared to be the man who dashed in and knocked Blanchard off his feet. Of course, had Lee gotten a hand on the football, then bumped into the kicker, he would not have been penalized.
Well, Dante Lee getting his first taste of action, freshman player, a little overzealous. Got a little bit too close to the kicker. Blanchard hit him, and Ohio State is going to be penalized, and probably with first down on the play. Blanchard, as you see, taking snap from center, a little bit deliberate in his approach, hits the football cleanly, but Dante Lee, number 20, hits his right kicking leg on the play. Ohio State will be penalized, and the
penalty may not carry an automatic first down. In fact, it looks like it's going to be 4th and still a couple.
Well, Pat Jones is out on the field talking to the officials about that right now.
He may have been clamoring for a flagrant foul and additional yardage.
But it looks like you are exactly right, Jack. Cowboys of Oklahoma State will have to punt this football as they come up a couple of yards short of the first down.
Why would you punt with 8 minutes left down to 24 points? It's only 4th and 2.
Well, not very much else has been going right today, so I guess when in doubt, punt.
End over end kick. Graham at the 26. Down he goes at the 30. About the only thing I can figure out the Cowboys were hoping for there was another running into the kicker, or perhaps a fumble on the return.
Well, I don't know what they were really hoping for, but as I said, even though it was only 2 yards shy of a first down, I guess at this point in the ball game, with the frustration that has built up, Pat Jones says, when in doubt, punt.
Well, Kirk Herbstreit from Centerville has entered at quarterback, and Dante Lee is in at tailback. He played his high school football at Meadowdale. Herbstreit calling signals for the Buckeyes. This is Tyrone Harrison churning for about 3 to the 34.
Tyrone Harrison, Harry.
Herbstreit, a 6'2", 212-pounder, a freshman. Played his high school football at Centerville.
This is the kind of ball game that Coach Cooper was hoping for, hoping that his team would be up, giving the underclassmen an opportunity to get some playing time and experience, and this could be very valuable for Kirk Herbstreit.
This is Dante Lee, and he twisted for 2 yards to the 36. Dante Lee perhaps has been the most impressive of all the Buckeyes in spring and fall drills, Paul.
Well, firmly entrenched as the number 3 tailback, and had been pushing James Bryan as the number 2, and perhaps James at this point has a little bit of an edge on Dante, because James, of course, is a letterman of 3 years, returning for his 4th year, but Dante Lee, Coach Cooper said, will play a lot.
I think I mentioned spring drills. I should have said just fall, because Dante wasn't here in the spring. Herbstreit looking. He delivers to the 45, and it's caught. Herbstreit showing fine poise and then striking with Jim Palmer. First down at the 45, or is it? Yes.
Nice poise demonstrated by Herbstreit with the fake to Dante Lee stepping out of the pocket. Here is a Oklahoma State player in his face, and yet he gets to the sideline. Conley stops, sets his feet, throws a strike to Palmer. First down, not bad for his first action as a Buckeye.
Tyrone Harrison is sandwiched right at the line of scrimmage. No gain. 6 minutes, 26 seconds left. Buckeyes lead it 37-13. Colbert in there on the tackle for Oklahoma State. Buckeyes with a number of newcomers in there along the offensive line. Mike Schoaf and Roy Nichols are in at tackles. Mike Huddleston and Steve France at guards. Mike Curry, who's been battling Dan Beatty for the starting center spot, is in now on snaps. Herbstreit still has it. And he's pinned to the turf at the 42. Chris Lowry made the tackle on Herbstreit. 3rd down and 11 for Ohio State at the 44. Buckeyes have sent 2 receivers far left. Harrison and Lee behind Herbstreit. This is Tyrone Harrison chugging to the 49. He got about 4 or 5, and the Buckeyes will have to kick it. Darren Colbert in there on the stop as we near the 5-minute mark. In what is turning out to be a fine opening game performance by the Buckeyes here in '89.
Well, the coaches have to be impressed with the way the offensive unit took charge here in the second half and turned this ball game around for Ohio State.
Bowman, who also played his high school football at Centerville, as did Herbstreit, punched this one through the end zone. And Oklahoma State will begin at the 21st and 10, trailing by 24 points with 4:40 left in this game. 88,670 on hand for the Buckeyes home opener here in 1989. And you've got to go back to the late 70s. 1978, I believe, Paul, when the Buckeyes last lost a home opener here at Ohio Stadium. Penn State turned back the Buckeyes' ears on that Saturday afternoon.
Well, it's tough to win in the horseshoe if you wear the other colors. And Ohio State, of course, outstanding in home openers. A great part of this great winning tradition here at Ohio Stadium, winning the opening ball games as well as winning throughout the year.
Well, next week the Buckeyes are on the road against the Southern California Trojans. Wisconsin's at California. UCLA entertains Michigan. Iowa's at Iowa State. Chris Smith is now in at quarterback for Oklahoma State. 6'1", 191-pound junior. And he kept it and was stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Elsewhere next week, Big Ten Conference teams are in action at Notre Dame. The Spartans play there. Nebraska plays at Minnesota. Northwestern is home to Rutgers. And Utah State is in Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini. And interestingly enough, 3 Big Ten Conference teams next week play on the West Coast in the state of California.
No. Michigan will be at Illinois, and of course Ohio State is Southern Cal, and was it Wisconsin?
Michigan at UCLA. That's what you meant to say.
Yes. Was it Wisconsin at Cal?
Yeah, Wisconsin at Cal, and Ohio State at Southern Cal, and Michigan at UCLA. Second down and 17 for Oklahoma State. Smith tucks it away, runs with it, and gets to the 17. Coming off the pile for Ohio State is Tovar. Lease was also there. Joe Metzger is in. Ken Coleman, Greg Smith have also played some here in the fourth quarter for the Buckeyes. We've seen Jay Cook in at linebacker, so he has indeed gone both ways. You went both ways some in your college playing days, didn't you, Paul?
Mm-hmm. It was the good old days.
Bouncing it to the outside, Vernon Brown at the 21.
Vernon Brown carried, tackled by Mike Gessler.
Tackle made by Gessler after a short gain. Fourth down coming up, nearly 10.
Under 25 left, shooting the punt. Jeff Graham back to the Buckeyes.
Blanchard will take the long snap back inside his 10. End over end. Graham says, I'm not going to have anything to do with this one. It rolls dead at the 36. So with 2.5 minutes left, Buckeyes have possession at their 36, leading by 24, 37-13. And if the Ohio State coaching staff would have scripted this game before it started, Paul, this just may have been the way they would have written it. Getting the reserves, a lot of playing time in the fourth period, resting some of the starters now. Dante Lee gets the call. He plows back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 coming.
A little bit of a sluggish start in the first half, particularly for the offensive unit, but they really got untracked in the second half. I was particularly impressed with the ability of Ohio State to take advantage of Oklahoma State's blitzing and hit them for the big plays and break this ball game wide open.
2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Buckeyes by 24. Herb Street still has it. Spots a receiver, hits him at the 43. Just short of first down yardage. Herb Street right on the money to Stabline, a freshman from Erie, Pennsylvania. Paul, I don't know how much the 469 yards the Buckeyes gained against Michigan last year means today, but whatever momentum the Buckeyes did establish at the end of 1988, they've carried it forward to 89.
Carried it forward today after, as I said, a sluggish start, 428 yards total offense up to this point, and going for more certainly has to be seen as an impressive outing today.
Herb Street just wide of the mark, as on fourth down, he went for a big chunky yardage. Buckeyes have a 4th and 1 and may elect to go for it. We're down to minute 44. Mike Curry over the ball at center. Herb Street was a fine running quarterback at Centerville in high school. He keeps it. Let's see what he does. His desperation throw is no good at the 47, and the Buckeyes turn it over. Tyrone Harrison was at the sideline, but just could not gather it in.
Oklahoma State did a good job of stringing out that play. They seemingly were looking for pass play, covered the 2 receivers coming out of the backfield very well. Herb Street didn't have really a target to throw the football to. He held the ball as long as possible and then tried to gun it into Harrison, but Harrison really wasn't open cleanly on the play.
Smith still has it, throwing behind Parker at the 31. He tried to make a one-hand stab with the left hand, but could not snatch it. 2nd and 10 coming up. Clock stops at a minute 32. Hilsenroth was the Buckeye in the secondary on the coverage on the previous play. Fake draw again. Smith screens it to the left, and the play is good for about 11 and a first down. Mark Walker picked that one off on the tight end screen, and it's a first down at the 35. We're down to minute 21 to go. Well, I'd say we've launched the centennial season of Ohio State football in grandiose fashion, Paul.
In good shape with a fine performance here by the Buckeyes in the opening ball game against Oklahoma State. It's a good way to start the 1989 season and the 100th year.
This is Smith in a little trouble. Nearly picked off at the sideline by Lance Price. It appeared as though he was a step out of bounds when he got his hands on it. 59 seconds to go in this game.
Oklahoma State quarterbacks seem to have a propensity for throwing to red jerseys today.
Let's see if we can catch up with all the Buckeyes who are in there now. Hilsenroth and Lance Price are in the secondary. Gessler from Woodville is also in. Completed pass to Kirksey to the 27. Foster Polk, who was in there on that tackle, is in the secondary for Ohio State. As we mentioned, Jay Cook is playing a linebacker post. Alonzo Spellman was out there several plays ago. Steve Tovar is in at linebacker. Third down and about a foot for the Cowboys. This is Smith on the option. Thrown down by Tovar at the 26. Smith needed just a foot, and Tovar crunched him right at the line of scrimmage. He didn't get it.
Well, I've been very impressed.
Degree mark, wind.